Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya
Narayanam Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim
Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayesha Bhadresho
Nashtaprayesha
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. So once again, welcome to this most auspicious, and it's called Loka Mangala process. Loka Mangala, the entire world will be will become auspicious by hearing Krishna Katha. So welcome to this wonderful platform of hearing Krishna Katha, the auspiciousness. So in this process, we are going to hear Bhagavatam, and I am paying obeisances to all of you humbly, so that you have shown interest to hear Srimad Bhagavatam with all love, affection, and Shraddha, with faith. So we are actually adopting the process which has been adopted by great saints like Shaunaka the Rishi 5000 years before. When they saw a big calamity in the form of Kali Yuga is going to appear, they have adopted the process of hearing Krishna Katha. So at the moment of world crisis, Bhaktivedanta College of Vedic Education also thought that let the Bhagavatam be a chance to hear Bhagavatam completely be given to the all devotees all over the world, and create an auspiciousness. What is auspiciousness? We have discussed, but how this works? When auspiciousness means our heart becomes pure, and we become fearless. We become fearless and we become so confident about the protection of the Lord. It is called auspiciousness. So, and when this heart becomes pure, it works in a different way. If one person becomes pure in heart, it will all be one. But if he preaches the Bhagavatam in a pure heart manner to two more people, so the three people their heart become auspicious, where they become pure. So these three people, three to the power of 3, so it will be like 9 people becoming pure. So similarly, if 10 people hear the auspicious Srimad Bhagavatam, it is equal to 100 people becoming pure. And if 100 people hear continuously, it is equal to 10,000 people become pure. So just imagine, if all Krishna devotees, 1 lakh devotees, hear Srimad Bhagavatam as a vrata, then what great, wonderful auspiciousness will dawn onto this whole world. It is unimaginable. It is just unimaginable. So we are making this humble effort on behalf of Srila Prabhupada and Bhaktivedanta College and Sri Radha Madan Mohan. Let this auspiciousness dawn on this on the earth. Everything becomes auspicious. You see how the purpose of this Srimad Bhagavatam Katha Shatakam. Basically, all the devotees should understand one important point, that Bhagavatam is only the solution, is only the way, is only the process available for us to develop love of Krishna and to bring auspicious in our life. Auspicious means the moment if we become auspicious, our body will be healthy, our mind will be peaceful, our intellect will be very, very sharp, and our soul will be completely drenched with the love of Godhead, and will be 24 hours thinking about Krishna and engaged in Krishna consciousness. This is called auspiciousness. If somebody is able to iha yasya harer dasya karmana manasagira nikilashvavi avasthasu jivan muktasya uchyate. So if a person is able to 24 hours engage in Krishna consciousness by body, by mind, by intelligence, and by soul. That is called auspiciousness. Only devotees by that process can bring it. And what is the beginning? What is the first step? First step is hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is, as Srimad Bhagavatam itself is mentioned, there are to come to that level of auspiciousness, we basically go through the 3 steps. Step 1 is to hear Bhagavatam completely. Tashrunvan, supathan, vicharana paro, bhaktya vimucche naraha. So in the sense, actually there are 4, 3 and 4 are little step ahead. So total there are 4 process, 4 steps. Number 1 is first hearing Srimad Bhagavatam completely. Tashrunvan. So to the Bhaktivedanta College of Vedic Education, we are giving this opportunity to all of you to hear entire Bhagavatam in 100 stories. You can be rest assured that you have heard entire Bhagavatam by hearing these 100 stories. You can be 100% sure about it. After that, the second step is you should be Tashrunvan. Next step is Supatan. You should start reading or studying Bhagavatam. That is second step. That is the second step towards the auspiciousness. That is Tashrunvan Supatan. Next comes Vicharana Paro. Because when you are hearing Bhagavatam, you may be missing sometimes, your mind may go here and there, etc. Many things happens. But when you are actually studying, when you are reading, you are completely focusing on the letters of Srimad Bhagavatam which are auspicious from the Bhagavatam. That's why the second step is reading and studying. And some people I have read entire Bhagavatam already. That's why now I have stopped. So that is the wrong statement. Because he might have read everything or studied everything. What about Vicharana Paro? What about the next step, third step? Vicharana Paro. Vicharana means actually contemplating. Oh, whatever I read, what is this? What about this? Why it is told like this? For example, contemplating, I give an example. Suppose when Krishna and all the Gwalwal, they went to Vrindavan in the forest, they saw a big snake by name Aghasur. So it is narrated Aghasur was almost 8 miles in length. 8 miles in length. So almost more than 12 kilometers. Such a big length. So if start imagine, when you just read, there was a big snake is there and Krishna went and killed it. So in 3-4 slokas, whole thing gets finished. But if you start contemplating, it's totally different. Then you will go to that scene. Then you will go to that actual scene. Oh, you are seeing that. Oh, there is 8 mile long. There's 8 mile long big python. So it's almost more than 12 kilometers. So big. Oh, it's the upper lip is touching the sky. His bottom lip is on the floor, on the earth. And its tongue is just like a big red carpet, big road. Then start contemplating. Means you actually go into the scene. It's called contemplation. Then we'll understand, so Krishna could kill such a great demon, Aghasur. Now I am able to understand. That's called contemplation. I can give another example how the contemplation goes. And then comes Vicharana Paro Bhaktya. Then when you add the devotion to that, then that comes the final. I will just narrate one small story of a great devotee. His name is Pundarika Vidyanidhi. He is a very dear devotee to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this Pundarika Vidyanidhi was earlier in Bangladesh, Chittagong. He finally came to Navadvip. When he came to Navadvip, and he was a very, very rich person. Very, very rich person. He was always luxurious. He said that Krishna is great, Krishna is opulent, so devotees also should be opulent. That is his mood. So he used to have a very, very luxurious life. He used to wear silk clothes and he used to have wonderful carpets, wonderful cushions, everything, so happy. So Mukunda Datta, there's a nice devotee. He was very fond of this Pundarika Vidyanidhi. He said to Gadadhar Pandit that today, you see, in our Navadvip, one great devotee came. He is very, very devoted to Krishna. Let us go and have darshan to him. So both of them, they went And Mukundadatta knows about Pundarik Vijjanidhi as the greatest devotee, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu already told that he is the greatest personality. And but the moment Gadadhar Pandit went and saw, he saw this Pundarik Vijjanidhi in a more joyful manner, in a more luxurious manner, and somebody is putting fan on him, and he's chanting, but he is relaxed chanting. Then he felt that what is this? And he has nicely put on garlands, he has put nice chandan, he has put scent on his body, silk clothes, very luxurious. Then he felt, what is this? A Vaishnava should be simple, but he doesn't appear to be simple. What is this? He was feeling in that manner. When the Gadadhar Pandit was having this thought in mind, the Mukundadatta immediately understood, oh, this person is thinking wrong about a greatest Mahabhagavata Vaishnava in front of us. It is a great offense. So let me show his great purity of consciousness. Then he immediately he recited 2 slokas from Srimad Bhagavatam. Aho bakeyam stanakalakutam jigam sayapaya yadatya chadvi leve gatim dhatuchitam tanonyam kamva dayalam sharanam rajema. Actually, these are the slokas which are discussed between Vidura and Maitri. They were discussing these slokas. So here it is a sloka, it's saying that, and also he uttered one more sloka. Lokabalagni Rakshasi Rudirashana Jigam Siyami Haraye Sanam Tatva Pasatkatim. There are 2 slokas that Datta Prabhu has recited. The moment he heard the devotee who was sitting, Pundarik Vijjanidhi, when he heard, immediately he got into trance. He has just fell down and started rolling on the earth, and his ears were full of tears. He was full of tears, and he started tearing all his clothes, because he was remembering that, oh, Krishna is so merciful, that a lady, a demon who is actually fond of drinking the blood of children. That type of cruel lady came to Krishna, also wanted to kill Krishna, but she came with a mood to give milk. So Krishna was so merciful that, okay, she has killed so many dozens of children and was drinking the blood, but she has come to give me milk. So let me give her the best position as mother. So the devotees are discussing in the Bhagavatam, oh, who else can be so Krishna, who is ready to give a position like mother, who is willing to kill him. So this is called understanding. That is going to the level of Tashrunvan, Supatan, Vicharana Paro, Bhaktya. Is going to the 4th stage of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. That is called. So devotees ultimately should reach to that stage. By simply hearing one sloka, they will go to trance and understanding that is great of God. So our whole idea is Srimad Bhagavatam, that we all will reach. Ultimately will come to that wonderful stage of Krishna Prem by this process only. So with this brief introduction about the power of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, power of reading Bhagavatam, and then power of contemplating Bhagavatam, then going to the trance with pure devotion, how Bhagavatam will elevate all of us, and then the whole world will be filled with auspiciousness. Now coming to our today's 3 wonderful stories. So first will be narrating the Mahajana devotee of Lord Krishna. So today we are going to discuss, today we are going to relish, happily relish. I hope you all relished 2 stories yesterday. Today we are going to have 3 stories for relishment. So today the first story is a Mahajana devotee of Lord Krishna. And this Mahajana is not anyway, Mahajana name itself shows that he is a very, very great devotee. And actually he is the spiritual master of Prahlad Maharaj. And he is spiritual master of Dhruva Maharaj. And he is the spiritual master of Vyasadeva. And he is the spiritual master of Chitraketu. And like that, he is the spiritual master of there are Prachetasas. So everywhere you will find, and who is none other than Narada Muni. Devarshi Narada is our next story, and he has been described in Srimad Bhagavatam as the third incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. And it is so interesting, Srimad Bhagavatam, Narada Muni's story comes very, very often at different places. So we are going to discuss how Narada Muni's story is discussed in very condensed manner in next half an hour time for our pleasure and for our purification. So actually, as I clearly mentioned, he is one of the Mahajanas. Mahajana means, that we already discussed, Mahajana means one who knows Krishna 100%. One who knows 100% about Krishna is Mahajana. In that, Swayambhu, Narada, Shambhu. Swayambhu is Brahmadeva and Narada. So today, at this point of time, we are going to discuss Narada Muni, the Mahajana. So Narada Muni's story starts much before that. Earlier, he was a Gandharva. In the Gandharva Loka, he was Gandharva, and his name was Upabarhana. His name was Upabarhana. He was so beautiful by all this form. He was so beautiful, and he was so good singing that all the people, whoever hear him, used to get so much attracted. And his beauty is going to increase so much by his singing. And because of that, he is always to be surrounded by so many beautiful ladies. Ladies used to get attracted towards him for his beauty, for his singing, for his all the facial expressions like that. So he used to be very proud also because of this great opportunity. So one day in the Devaloka, all the demigods, they have planned for a wonderful Sankirtan festival. So not only Sankirtan festival happen in the earthly planet, some devotees they conduct in the heavenly planets also. So they have arranged one Sankirtan festival. So all demigods invited so many people, so many invitation has been sent to other people. So they are from the Gandharva Loka, Rushi, Satyaloka, everybody. So from the Gandharva Loka, Upabarhana was also invited. He went with his big, who are none other than beautiful ladies. So he went along with great ladies, and he got little intoxicated also before going with all ladies. Then after going there, he arranged himself with all musical instruments and started singing. But he started singing the glories of demigods, not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the biggest mistake he did. When he is going for Sankirtan movement, Sankirtan should be very humble. He should not be intoxicated, and he should not be surrounded by so many ladies. So this is the first step he did. One should have a pure devotional mode when we go to a Sankirtan process. So that's why all the devotees also, whenever they go for Sankirtan process, they should be traditionally dressed, and they should put tilak, and they should have Japamala in the hand, or they should have Bhagavad Gita in the hand, or Srimad Bhagavatam in the hand. If possible, they should have Kartal in the hand, and if they know Mridanga, they can have Mridanga. They should be well prepared. They should be well prepared for going Sankirtan movement. Similarly, ladies also, they should be suitably dressed. They should have traditional dress, and they should not be doing any extra makeups. They should be very humble, and they should be going with a humility that, okay, now we are going to really glorify Supreme Lord, and they all should be ready to really dance to the tune of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That is the process. So whereas this Upabarhana made a mistake of going luxuriously with all ladies surrounded. And after that, he went and he did another mistake. He started glorifying, singing the glories of other demigods. That's a mistake. So this also we should be very careful when we go for Sankirtan. We should not be speaking to anybody. We should not be looking at our mobiles. We should not be looking at anything. We have gone for Sankirtan, so we should be concentrating on Sankirtan, because Sankirtan is rarely obtained a gift on this earth. So when we are going for Sankirtan movement, we should be very, very careful, we should be very attentive, and we should be respectful, because at that place when Sankirtan is happening, we see that Supreme Lord Krishna is dancing there. Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda are dancing there. We see that all the devotees are dancing there. At that time, if you behave in an unholy manner, it is not at all good. And devotees should always openly should dance for the Sankirtan process. So here the Upabarhana made a mistake of two mistakes he did. In the earthly planet, nobody can say anything to nobody, because it is very democratic country or like that. But in the heavenly planets, they are not so kind. They are very strict. Prajapati, they saw that this fellow we have invited made a mistake and he is singing the glories of all the demigods. So it is an activity of a Shudra. If you are going to a spiritual place and glorifying somebody else, it is an activity of Shudra. So this man is supposed to really, with his beautiful tone and melodious tone, he should sing Krishna's pastimes, but he is singing the glories of demigods. So it is a befitting activity for a Shudra. So let him become Shudra. They immediately cursed him that you go and become Shudra in the earthly planet. That is the curse we are giving. Immediately they cursed. So similarly, if you go to the Sankirtan movement, you may look at your mobile, you may talk about this and that. Nobody can do anything, but there is a witness. Witness is happening, will be in our heart, and everything is there suitable. If somebody goes beyond their limit, they may be cursed. They may be going away from Sankirtan. They may be never will be able to relish the Sankirtan movement. So let us be very cautious from this story of Narada Muni, who earlier was Upabarhana. So because of this great curse by the Prajapatis, he became a Shudra. Shudra means the person who is taking up menial activity, service mode. Shudra. So Seva, he has taken birth in the womb of a mother who was a maid servant. So maid servant means she has to go to somebody's house and do all the menial work. She has to clean the house, she has to clean the utensils, she has to put the water, etc., etc. So he has become the son of a maid servant. You just imagine, by simply offending for Sankirtan movement, a great Gandharva, beautifully singing Gandharva has become a maid servant's son. So let us be very careful, my dear devotees, that the Sankirtan is a matchless gift we got, and let us handle with all love, care, devotion and respect. So he has become, because he is a son of a servant, so he also started doing service activities. So fortunately, his mother was working in a Brahmana's house. Brahmana means always tapasya, always yajna, always some sadhana, always some devotees coming. So that was very fortunate condition. So she is not an ordinary Shudrani, she is a fortunate Shudrani. So in the Brahmana's house during monsoon, some large number of devotees came to take shelter in the Brahmana house. That is the beauty of a Brahmana. So in that they have come to stay for 4 months. 4 months period is called Chaturmasya. In the Chaturmasya period, when the Brahmanas are engaged, the Brahmana engaged his maid servant son for serving these devotees. Always we should ensure, even in our devotional life also, whenever any senior devotees come, sannyasis come, always ladies should sit behind, and they should make nice reprivation with all love and affection. But the male devotees should go and serve. So that is the humble Vedic process. So here, the Brahmana used to the maid servant lady for serving at home, but the moment many devotees came, he did not engage her. He engaged the son of, he was only a 5 years old boy, but even then he has engaged. So that is beautiful. So the beautiful thing is that he also, the boy, the Shudrani, his son, he started nicely serving the devotees, Brahmanas, and he also stopped all his childish proclivities. He has stopped, and he started serving them, offering them food, cleaning, not food, basically he started cleaning their utensils, whatever their eaten plates, and arranging water, like that, so many things. And one day he, with so much humbleness, because he saw that in some plates some remnants were left over, and before throwing out, he went to them and requested, "My dear sirs, I am very much becoming attracted to your, and you mentioned so many things. Can you please permit me? That I want to taste your remnants?" And they saw the humbleness. So humility is the first step in the jnana, as Bhagavad Gita in the Krishna told in 13th chapter. What is jnana? Is the first step is humility. So with the humbleness, he went and requested, and looking at humility, they permitted. Okay, you please take our remnants. When he took remnants, the first effect, because with so much humbleness, he took the remnants, and before that, he had a great attraction for the remnants of pure devotees. So the whole thing starts from your heart. It should not be taken. Sometimes devotees also try to take, "Oh, Maharaj ka prasad le lo, Maharaj prasad lo." It becomes, there's a good activity, but it should be from the heart. So whereas here, one time taking the Shudrani's son has become very much attracted. Then he states that Uchistale pan modita dvijo sakutna bhungje tatapasta kilbishaha evam pravuttasya vishuddha chetasa tadharma evatma ruchi prajayate. So Nadamuni himself is saying that at that time, in that life, when he took that remnants with all humbleness, with all humility, with all attachment, with all confidence, with all love towards that remnants, he got just simply purified. He simply got purified. How do you know he got purified? So he said that when I got purified, I started liking their nature. Suppose if you look at a devotee, if you you're trying to learn from a teacher, you went to a teacher, or you went to a spiritual master, or you went to a Siksha Guru, and try to learn from him. If you don't appreciate the personality in front of you, you will never get knowledge. You may hear, but the knowledge will never be revealed. This is secret. Means if you want to get knowledge from spiritual master, you should be not by words, actually by heart. You should be appreciating his nature by heart. Here the son of the Shudrani, when he got purified by the remnants, he started appreciating the nature of these devotees. Sadharma evatma ruchi prajayate. Their nature he started liking so much. That made whole thing a paradigm shift. I call this a paradigm shift. Completely life is changed because he started liking their nature. Because they started liking nature, what happened? What is the effect of that? When he started, like earlier also, he was serving them, he was hearing their Krishna Katha, they were hearing, he is also participating, but they were never so much attractive to him. Those Krishna Kathas, he was not attracted. He was going and serving, etc. But the moment his heart was purified by their remnants, and the moment he started liking their nature, then he has become a perfect recipient of the great qualities of those Bhakti Vedantas. He said that Tatranvaham Krishna Kada Pragayata Manugrahena Shravanam Manohara. From then he started feeling that the story, the Krishna story that they are discussing is very, 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 very attractive to him. Shrunavam Manohara. He was hearing earlier also, but when his heart became pure, when he started liking their nature and their stories, their discourses, he started appearing as nectar. We may say that, oh Prabhuji, oh Maharaj, your story is very nectar. That 99% or 99.99%, these are only a few words. But if you want to take lesson from him, the Shudra and his son, he first of all appreciated, because of heart, he appreciated the nature, and because of that Krishna Kada and the attraction for Krishna Kada which they are discussing got transferred into his mind. That is the beauty of so we can learn from this Narada Muni this beautiful understanding. And after 4 months are over, they were about to go, and this boy surrendered to the lotus feet, and all of them then initiated him with the knowledge of Krishna. So when they went off, the boy was still attached to Krishna Kada. Now he is completely purified and he has attachment for Krishna. And but he has still one attachment, mother. Now the providence has removed that attachment also. That one day in the night time, early morning, or in the evening time, the mother went to milk the cow, and there was a snake, and she was bitten by a snake and she died. So now the boy, the son of the maid servant, felt it is a providence, it is a mercy of Supreme Lord Krishna. Now he knows very clearly it is only Krishna, it is only Krishna, it is only Krishna. So from that we can understand that we see Narada Muni is saying that in his previous life he heard about Krishna. It's so that Krishna Katha is not new. Its Krishna Katha has not appeared in Dwapara Yuga. No, Krishna Katha is there from the beginning of the creation. Only those who are fortunate, they will be revealed. They get revealed about this most fortunate Krishna Katha, most melodious, the nectar Krishna's pastimes will be revealed only to them. So fortunately, this boy got revealed, and he started moving that he wants to now attain Krishna. So he was moving to the northern side. He crossed towns, he crossed villages, he crossed so many forests, he has crossed so many caves. Everywhere crossing, moving. His only one point is Krishna. And wherever chance is there, he was started dancing. He did not bother about whether people think bad about him. He did not follow any etiquette, social etiquette. He was just dancing, and he went, and finally he got tired. They saw a big lake was there, and he got tired and took bath, and he drank little water, and whatever the Bhakti Vedantas they have given him the knowledge, based on that he started meditating on Supreme Lord Krishna in his heart. And when he was meditating on Krishna in his heart, immediately Krishna came, he appeared on his heart. He was just turned that, oh, I'm thinking about Krishna, and Krishna appeared. He is just seeing Krishna in front of him, but in the heart. And because of that, his eyes were filled with tears, and because of the tears, he could not see Krishna. And he was trying to see, and suddenly the form of Krishna in the heart. Krishna stays in the heart of Rishikesh. He also stays in the heart as Janardana. And he stays in the form of Paramatma as a Sakshi. In the form of Rishikesh, actually he fulfills all our desires. In the form of Janardhan, he protects us. In the form of Paramatma, he is the witness in his Paramatma. So he is different as the people look at him and they meditate. He will be looking at those things. And in next few seconds, the Supreme Lord Krishna's form simply disappeared. And again, this maidservant boy tried to meditate back again and again, but he did not see, and he became so much morose. At that time, he heard wonderful voice of Krishna. He said that, "My dear boy, don't worry. I appeared to you just to increase your attachment." Please try to understand one important point. Avipakvasha kashayanam durdadosham durdarshoham kuyoginam. Those who are imperfect, those who are not full in service, they will never see me. Those who are, they have not perfected their service, those who are not detached, they cannot see me anytime. So for this life, only this much is available. But in your next life, you will become a pure devotee of me, and because of your devotion, I am giving you a special benediction that you will never forget whatever happened in your previous life, this life, and after that, anyway, you will be a great devotee. You will never forget anything. In that way, Krishna has given the beautiful benediction. And then the boy spent some time, and as the time appeared, he has left his body, and was just waiting. And at the end of Kalpa, when everything has submerged or merged into Narayana, even including Brahma, everything, all the lokas and all the demigod Brahma, along with all of them, he entered into the body of Narayana. And when the next Kalpa started, he just came out from the heart of Brahmaji as third incarnation. The beautiful Narada Muni has come from the heart. So in this heart, in the Brahmaji heart only, Krishna has revealed. Tene Brahma Huda Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Suraya. So in the heart of Brahma, the Bhagavatam knowledge was revealed. So from the same heart, this earlier Gandharva, then later the son of a maidservant, now he has come out as Brahmarshi Narada. So that is a beautiful form of that. And from then he has only one duty, that all the three worlds, to simply distribute Krishna Katha. That is the Aho Devarshi Dhanyoyam Yakkirtem Shankadanvanaha Gajanmanandinam Tantriya Ramayathyaaturam Jagat. So Narada Muni's only one activity is that he will just go to the three worlds and simply sing Krishna's glories. In that process, by that method, he would give pleasure and relief from the material pangs to all people. That's why he is always glorified. Aho Devarshi Dhanyoyam. He is Dhanya. He is a great personality. And such great personality, Narada Muni has given to the world. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This great mantra is given by Narada Muni only. Because of this wonderful mantra, Dhruva Maharaj has attained a imperishable place called Dhruva Loka. So Narada Muni was so, and he even made a person who was born in the demonic family like Prahlad a pure devotee. That is power of Narada Muni. And even Narada Muni cursed Nalakubara Manigriva. There are two intoxicated sons of Kubera. But he has blessed him that he allowed them to have darshan of little Krishna in the prangan of. So Narada Muni, even if he cursed somebody, he would ensure that he will get love of Krishna. So, and he was ready to take curse also. Actually, Narada Muni was changing Daksha Prajapati's sons. They were first 10,000 people. He has converted them into pure devotees. Then 1,000 people, 1,000 sons, he also converted into devotees. Then Daksha Prajapati became so much disturbed. Why this Narada Muni is converting all my sons into saints? So let me curse him. So he has cursed him that he will not have any place for stay. So Narada Muni was cursed that he will not have any permanent place. So Narada Muni felt that was very good. It's very, very good, absolutely good, so that I can keep on moving all the three worlds and can preach. So Narada, his divine grace, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada used to say that he also got the curse of so many parents of his disciples because of that. So at that time Srila Prabhupada constructed 100 temples, and he used to all over the world only 1 or 2 days. Then all the devotees, Srila Prabhupada, please you should stay here. He said, I can't stay because I got the curse of all the parents that I cannot stay at one place. He used to say in a joking manner, but he was interested in spreading Krishna consciousness everywhere. As now the Corona was spreading, so Srila Prabhupada, out of his Karuna, he used to spread Krishna consciousness, and he also got blessed in disguise that he kept on moving all over the world. Because of his mercy only, so many lakhs of people got Krishna consciousness. Many lakhs will come, many crores will come into the Krishna consciousness, and they will be very happy. So this is the wonderful Mahajana Narada Muni story. I hope you all relished, and we'll say one time to Narada Muni ki
Jai.